65 miles.
65 miles.
What was it like along the march? People would like to hear what the conditions were like and how people were treated.
Well, there was the elderly marcher, prisoner. He could hardly walk. And he has to move to escape the bayonet shot.
So if you fell or dropped behind, they would kill you.
Oh yes.
So you had to keep going.
That's why approximately 15 to 20,000 missing on the way. I think you can say 2,000, maybe more, escape. But you can estimate that that number of people and the distance. You find that you can see somebody dying every 12 or 15 feet apart.
How many people in total were on the march?
70,000 was caught. There were 10,000 or 12,000 wounded in Hospital 1 and Hospital 2. You know, just imagine they just put them right in the open. There is no cover. Right in the open. And if you cannot walk, it's a bad luck. You cannot walk. You cannot move. And they went to the hospital just to kill.
Really? So they killed everybody
They
in the
cannot
hospital?
walk.
If they couldn't walk, they were killed?
Those who can walk, you can get out.
Okay. Did people try to help each other?
Oh yes, yes, but you cannot help because of the exodus is too much.
Right.
When I was leaving the area, there was a group of civilians that were caught, and they were killing them for what? And I went through that lane, and there are I heard some groaning kids, and these are the kids that were forced to be inducted. And
were they very young?
very young. I saw somebody. I did not even touch him. Before they died, they called their mom, Mama, Nanay, and so on. Please help me. Who is going to help them when you in that position?
Yeah.
I was just helping myself, and I said, this is the survival of the fittest.
Everyone had to do what they could do and had to do.
When I had my cousin with me, I cannot leave him anymore. I planned to escape, but
so you were thinking about escape, but you couldn't leave your cousin.
I cannot.
What happened at the...
His left arm was amputated by shrapnel 3 days before. It was still bleeding. At the end of the march, I said to myself that if worst comes to worst, I should survive because I have only one enemy. It's only the disease. Our battalion command post was overrun twice. That's why I received my Bronze Star.
You have a Bronze Star. We'd like you to tell us a little bit about your experiences in the POW camp. And then after that, we'd like to talk about, I think you returned home, and then you joined the guerrillas.
Well, Doctor, the camp, I was lucky that I knew a general, Philippine Army, General Segundo, who mentioned about about casualties a day in the concentration camp, and he put me as a, because I can walk, I was not so sick at the time, and I was the man to visit each subgroup to know the casualties.
So you collected information from them?
I get the report from each of them,
Okay.
and there is an average of 450 to 500 dead prisoners of war buried a day, in one day.
Mm.
And in the meantime, when I was going there, doing that way, that route, I have extra atabrine. I give some to sick people, but I didn't leave anything for me.
What was that, an antibiotic?
Atabrine for malaria.
Oh, for malaria, okay. So you didn't leave any for you. Did you get malaria?
I had malaria, beriberi, and dysentery.
Oh. How were you fed in the camp? Did you get food, water?
Well, they give you one cow, good for 500 people to eat.
One cow.
One cow.
So you got
So
milk?
it's good if you have a little piece of meat.
Or, yeah, you ate the cows.
Yes.
Okay.
And every morning, because I was short of pills or like vitamin D, I stay under the sun for about half an hour or two, or 1 hour, and that's my vitamin D.
Yeah.
And I do not drink water unless it is boiled.
How long were you in the camp?
5 months, 1942.
Were you released because you were sick?
Yes. No.
How did you get there?
I hitchhiked, and it took me 5 days to ride on bull cart, carretela, drawn by horse,
Right.
walk. Most of the bridges, if not all the bridges, were destroyed anyway.
Who was the first person you saw that you knew when you got back to your village?
My mother.
How did she feel and how did you feel?
I got off from the carretela because I wanted to say hello to my auntie. And then when I saw my mother, she was doing like that, running towards me. She said, "You are my son, you are alive." My family was being hunted for almost a year and a half. So
So the Japanese were hunting for your family?
there were no families of the Japanese. There were some Filipinos who were trained by the Japanese for pacification.
Okay.
I contacted the guerrillas in the mountains.
How did you make contact with them?
I mentioned this news that I am a Philippine Scout veteran of Bataan, and I want to contact
Right.
the right people.
Right. So
We were born there and raised there.
how many people were involved in this?
This is about 300.
300.